Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning to all. Okay, the second test for this coming Friday, okay? So it will cover topic 5, 6, and 7. So the time of the test will be from 3 to 3:30 to 5 p.m. Okay, I'm forwarding this to your group WhatsApp now. Okay. Okay, so because I do understand that many of you are taking the the Etika paper on Friday morning. Okay, so we do not want to avoid clash, so we reschedule the time on the evening. Okay, again 1 hour and a half, more than enough time for you to complete 40 questions from topic 5, 6, and 7. Okay, especially on the demand and supply topic, on the utility, the uh, profit competition market, the monopoly. Okay, so focus on that. Okay, so check your group WhatsApp. I just send that to your. Okay, so for today, we're gonna start with the second part of the syllabus, which is on macroeconomics subjects. Okay, macroeconomic syllabus. Okay, so as I've been telling or mentioning before, the second half of the syllabus deal with macroeconomic concepts or topics. Okay, so the first half, the one that we did, okay, that finished last week, okay, deal with microeconomics. Okay, so for this topic, so I will combine the slides from Arnold and also the one from other classes, especially from Dr. Wan Roshida's class, the one that, so you can, both of the slides are in your OL, okay, so I will switch back and forth depending on the content, okay, of the slide. Okay, certain slide we will use Arnold, okay. So, and perhaps on next next Thursday, okay, I will go through a bit on the sample questions, okay, from past years on this chapter, okay. Okay, so macroeconomic. So what is macroeconomics? Okay, so micro, the one that we learned before, deal with study at micro, or the word micro is small. Okay, macro means big. So the word macroeconomic, okay, deal with economy as a whole. Okay, no longer one aspect of the economy at a time, such as consumer side, okay, demand side, supply side. But we look the economic as a whole. Okay, especially on general issues in economics. So you heard about unemployment. Okay, you heard about inflation, economic growth, trade, and especially gross domestic product, which is the measure of economic growth or economic well-being. Okay, whether the country is growing or the country is in recession. Okay, especially for example now during COVID-19. Okay, the talk about the country is slowing down, the GDP is negative. Okay, in the previous quarter, now the economy start to recover again. Okay, so those also relate to what we call as business cycle. okay, meaning the up and down in the economy. So macroeconomic deal with this concept. So for chapter 8, we're just going to cover this certain concepts, okay, and especially, and you have few calculations, simple calculations, but it requires certain understanding on the formula involved, especially on unemployment and also inflation. Okay, so for this, there will be, I mean, based on past years or questions from the test bank. Okay, so there are quite a number of questions that can be asked on how to calculate unemployment and how to calculate inflation. Okay, so by the end of this topic, so I will expect, okay, that you are able to calculate, okay, some of the simple, I mean, it's not something complicated, just plus and minus and divide, okay, multiply, getting the percentage. Okay, so that will be the main focus of the syllabus. Okay, and then first we discussed briefly on the two uh, school of thought, meaning it's like, for example, in Islam, okay, we have the school of thought, Shafi'i, Hanbali, Hanafi, Maliki, okay, different arguments, okay, on how the approach of the practice of Islam from different scholars. So the same as economics, okay. So we have the two broad school of thought, okay, meaning how they see how they interpret the economics based on the theories and assumptions. So the first one is classical economics. So those who believe that uh, the based on notion that individuals and firm, okay, or companies act in accordance with their own interests. So basically, this is what the invisible hand concept about. Invisible hand means let the market decide. Okay, so that is classical economy. So they believe in market, any disequilibrium, any shortages, any surplus in the market, okay, especially on prices, okay, or even wages, okay, is will change rapidly, meaning that the adjustment is done by market forces, okay, and it will change very fast, okay, to achieve equilibrium. So if there is any disequilibrium, okay, it will be corrected, okay, by the market forces. So that is classical economics. But on the contrary, we have also what we call as Keynesian economists, where they believe that wages and price do not change rapidly, meaning it takes time. If there is any disequilibrium, for the market to be in equilibrium again, it takes some time, okay? Because they believe that the market forces cannot solve all problems. So this is where they believe that government intervention, okay, is needed. For example, I mean, this is what is happening throughout the whole world, okay, whereby government from time to time, okay, will need to intervene, okay, will need to play its role, okay, to correct any disequilibrium. For example, in Malaysia, for example, during festive season, okay, where the demand for certain products, certain goods, for example, like chicken, okay, the demand will go up during festive season, okay, and the price of rice, okay, those are products that requires government intervention. Okay, for example, now during COVID-19, okay, whereby many people have lost their job, okay, so the government is needed, okay, to help those who are affected directly by COVID-19. So those are what we call as government intervention, and this is the thought or the views of the Keynesian economy. So at this stage, you just need to know the difference between what are the main arguments for classical, okay, what are the main ideas or argument by the Keynesian. So one is the price adjust quickly versus price adjust not so quickly or not so rapidly, and they don't. And for Keynesian, they believe on I believe in the government intervention, okay, is needed. Okay, so those two concept or those two school of thoughts in general. And then we also have the concept of inflation, unemployment, and also output growth or economic growth. Okay, so these two, okay, inflation and unemployment, okay, they are concepts that you need to know what are the definitions of, they are breakdowns of the word unemployment, okay, and also for inflation, the measure of inflation, how do you calculate inflation level, okay. So these are the things that is needed, okay. So the word business cycle, as we mentioned in the beginning of the slide, okay, business cycle. So in any country in the world, okay, it's very common that, okay, the every country in the world will experience the process of up and down, meaning there will be time where the economy will grow, and there will also be time where the economy might be in recession or slow down in the economic process. Okay, it can be due to any reason. For example, now it's due to COVID-19. Okay, so and sometimes it's not even due to any disease, for example, but it is just what the it's just the normal movement, okay, of any country. Okay, so you have the period of when it's going up, we call it expansion or boom, okay, or economic growth. So, and then you reach a peak, okay, where this is the most highest level of economic growth that a country can achieve at that particular point of time. And then it will start to go slow again, okay. The economy will be in recession or slowing down, okay. And then it will reach to a lowest point, okay, what we call as true. Okay, so it will go up and reach its peak and then slow down or in recession, and then it will reach the lowest point. For example, in Malaysia at present, okay, the country might still be in its recession period, okay, before we can bounce back and start to recover again. Okay, and then so these are certain different terms that can refer to recession, for example, contraction, slump, okay, and then it goes to this true period, okay, whereby at this is the lowest point, and then slowly okay, once the market start to recover, okay, it will start to go back, I mean, go up again, expansion. So hopefully for Malaysia and also other countries in the world, okay, we can bounce back from our recession period during COVID-19, okay, and reach this expansion period soon, okay, because the longer we stay in this recession or true period, okay, the more people will be unemployed, okay, people will lose their job, okay, and it will create problems, many problems in the economy. Okay, so this is a business cycle. Okay, and then the components of macroeconomics. Okay, so in microeconomics, we learn about firms, consumer. Okay, when it comes to consumer, you learn about demand and supply, about utility. Okay, how a consumer, how an individual decide how many to buy, and for producer, you learn the simple concept of supply and supply, about cost, okay, marginal revenue, what is the condition to produce output, MC equals to MR, okay, monopoly market, perfect competition market. But for macroeconomic, we look this as in a much broader groups, okay, not just individual or consumers. Okay, so household, which is okay, consumers, firms, okay, the producers, and the government, okay, and also the rest of the world, meaning there is no one country today, okay, most country in the world are somehow or another, they will also have interaction with outside world, okay, through import and export, okay, and others. Okay, so household and firms make up the private sector, government is public sector, and the rest of the world is foreign sector. So you have private, public, and foreign. So private means household and firms. Okay, public refers to government. Okay, so the circular flow of payment. So I'm just going through this concept briefly because you can read this I think the Arnold slide is quite simple to understand. So basically, this is how the concept, I mean, the general flow of any most country in the world. Okay, you can read this. Okay, but the idea is that okay, there always be interaction between household and firms and government and also the rest of the world. Okay, through so firms produce goods and services, the household consumes them. Okay, government receive income from taxes. Okay, they charge tax, income tax, corporate tax. So from the money that the government earns, okay, um, the government will provide goods, okay, services also to the public. Okay, so these are the common flow or general flow of payments, okay, throughout for most country in the world. Okay, and then we look at the topic of as we mentioned before, the main focus will be on this concept here, inflation. I mean, the opposite of inflation is deflation, meaning inflation means the price going up, deflation means price going down. Okay, unemployment and economic growth. So, okay, so the main measure of inflation is what we call CPI, okay, Consumer Price Index. Okay, so price level is when you talk about price level, basically is the average prices of all goods and services. The word weighted means okay, there is certain weight or pemberat in Malay. Okay, how much uh, I mean, for example, certain goods have different weight depending on the importance of the good in the consumption basket. Okay, price index is basically is a measure of price level, and so you don't the price index is basically a number between 0 to 100. Okay, so price level is in term of ringgit, okay, dollar and cents. Okay, so CPI is a measure, is an index. Okay, so this is the most common index for you to measure inflation. Okay, so is the weighted average. Okay, the word weighted is okay, every item in the calculation for CPI has its own weight. Okay, depending on, for example, like rice, okay, versus flour, for example, flour, okay, tepung. Okay, so the weight of rice may be different than the weight of in terms of the importance. Okay, if the product is more important to a particular country, so perhaps the pemberat, okay, the weightage is different. Okay, it will so there is a specific formula how to assign the weight. Okay, the value to measure how the more important or the of the good to a country, okay, the weight will be bigger than less important commodity. Okay, so we refer that to this as basket, meaning in that particular basket of goods there are various items, okay, that is used to measure the CPI. Okay, you can Google in the internet, check for what are the basket of goods for Malaysian CPI. Okay, so and there will be a list of commodities or goods that is used to calculate the CPI. Okay, and then when you want to calculate CPI, there is this concept of base year. Okay, the year that you want to compare the price. For example, if you want to say that 2020 price is lower than 2019 price, so meaning 2019 will be the base year. Okay, because if you want to compare this year price is higher than, okay, so if you want to compare this year, you must have a comparison, a year that you can compare whether this year price is higher or lower. So that year is what we call the base year, okay, for comparison purpose. Okay, so so this is one, I mean, this concept of base year. Okay, well, of course, the most important one is the formula. Okay, how to calculate the CPI. So this, in this example in your Arnold textbook, okay, in your Arnold slide, which is okay, you can I mean, you should have this in your laptop or your computer. Okay, So a simple example of, for example, here in this, in this example here, you have a basket of market basket, pen, shirt, and shoes. Okay, so this part, this column 1, 2, and 3 is the current year price. 1A, 2A, and 3A, this component is the base year price. Base year could be, let's say, last year. Current year is today's, the today's or 2020 price. This could be like 2019 price. Okay, so the same number of item, 10, 5, and 3. Okay, this is today's price, and this was the price, let's say, in last year. Okay, or maybe a few years ago. Okay, so you calculate price in the price in today's dollar, okay, versus the price based on that previous year. So you have the base year price, which is $67, the current price 167, given the same basket of goods. So if you want to compare, you must compare with the same basket. You cannot compare, for example, the current year, the basket is different than the previous year or the base year. So 10 must also be compared to 10. You cannot compare 10 versus 8 or 9 pen. Then the comparison is invalid. Okay. So the formula for CPI is basically the expenditure of current divided by expenditure divided by, so base is always the denominator. Multiply by 100, you get the CPI index as 249. So a simple, so you must always convert into in terms of percentages, or the value will be, the scale will be in terms of percent. Okay, so this is 249%. Okay, so a simple way to calculate. And then if you want to measure inflation, okay, for example, when you say that the CPI, so this is basically the CPI for 2000, the current year, for example. Okay, when you compare, so 249 is the current year CPI. But if you want to measure inflation, so inflation is basically based on changes in price. So if you say that, okay, 2020 inflation is 4%. Okay, so how do you get 4%? 4% is based on 2020 compared against 2019. So it must always be on the year before, 1 year before. Okay, so if people say that this year inflation is 4%, 2020 inflation is 4%, so 4% is based on the comparison between the changes in price from 2019 to 2020. So in that 1 year, price has changed up to 4%. So how do you calculate CPI, or how do you calculate inflation rate? So basically this is inflation rate. Okay, so the formula is quite straightforward. CPI in the previous year and in the current year, okay, minus the previous year divided by the previous. So basically this is the gross formula. Current minus previous divided by previous multiplied by 100. Okay, so the simple concept here. So if CPI in 2015 is 193.5, 2016 is 201.6. Okay, so what was the change from 2015 to 2016? Okay, so you can just do that. So 2016. So what? 2016 minus 153.6. Sorry, 195.3 divided by 195.3. So that will be the changes in price or the inflation rate. Okay, so this will be 201.6. Okay, minus 195. Okay, 0.3. Okay, and then divide by 195. Okay, 0.3. So that will be the, of course, multiply by 100. Okay, multiply by 100. So the product of this, okay, current minus previous divided by previous multiply by 100. Okay, that value will be your inflation rate. Okay, so, or changes in price, which is the same as inflation rate. Okay, so so basically this is what this slide means lah, inflation. Okay, inflation rate is the positive change. So if you recall in the very beginning, we mentioned about inflation versus deflation, right? So inflation is positive, meaning the price going up, but if the price going down or negative, you're talking about deflation. Okay, so for example, 2020 price is lower than 2019 price. So you cannot call that inflation, you must call it deflation. So when the price is going down, okay, or negative changes, then that will be deflation. Okay, so the word inflation, but usually the most common scenario is inflation. So it's quite uncommon to have deflation. I'm not saying that it is impossible, but for most of the condition, you're going to experience inflation, okay, or positive change in the price. Okay, so that will be the most common scenario. Okay, so again, this is another example that you can find in the unknown slide. Okay, again, you have the same basket, 4 hot dogs, 2 hamburgers. Of course, this example is from the US textbook. So all the example is common in the US because hamburgers is not common in Malaysia. Okay, but because we use uh, the American textbook, so the example is what they usually consume there. So the same basket throughout. So what you need to do is basically multiply each of the item based on the number of items in each basket based on the prices for these 3 separate years, 05, 06, and also 07. So this is a simple calculation. So you get the cost of the basket in 2005 is $8, 14, and 20. Okay, in each of the year. Okay, so 05, $8 for the same for this basket. So remember that the items or the number of items in the basket remain the same. The one that changes is only the price. So from here, okay, choose one base year as a base year. So let's say we assume the base year is 2005. So 5, which is $8. So if you recall, how do you calculate base year? Or how do you calculate? The base year is 2005. So how do you calculate the CPI? So the CPI is based on, okay, CPI total basket in the current year divided by the base year multiplied by 100. So if the base year is the same as the current year, so that's why you get here as 100. Okay, because current divide by base multiply by 100%. So the current and the base is the same because we decide that 05 it will be the base year. So that's why current divided by base will be the same value. You get 100. And 06, it will be current divided by base. So base is $8 throughout. Okay, so the current price 2006 will be the 14 and then 20 for 07. So you get the CPI for the base year, which is the base must always equal to 100. So that's why it's called base for you to compare against. Okay, so and then you want to compare the changes or the inflation rate, okay, from the previous year. So what is happening here is that in 06, you compare against 05. So 06 is 175. Okay, 05 is 100. So you say that the inflation rate is 75%, which is very high. Of course, this is just a hypothetical number or example. Okay, so it's very simple approach. Okay, if you recall, how do you calculate inflation? Okay, or how do you calculate the price changes? Current price, current CPI minus the previous CPI divide by previous CPI. So here, current CPI 175 minus the previous CPI, which is the base year, which is 100, divide by the base year, which is 100 again. So you get 75%. And then for 250, 250 minus, because remember the inflation is based on the previous year, not on the base year. Okay, so this is that you need to distinguish because the base year is 2005. Okay, and so when do you need to use the base year? The base year is you use when you want to calculate the CPI level, because you recall CPI is always based on current divided by base. So once you get the CPI, to measure inflation, it must be on yearly basis, meaning comparison from the previous year, not on the base year. So 250 is the current price, 175 is the price in 2006. So you cannot compare. If you put 250 minus 100, then you are wrong lah, because 100 is the year in 2005. Okay, but what you want is current minus previous year, which is previous year is referring to 06. Okay, so these are the things that sometimes you might do mistake. Okay, so inflation is always 1 year before. So 07 must be compared against 06. You cannot compare 07 with 05 to get the inflation rate. Okay, so when you call inflation rate, it must be on yearly basis or annual basis. So I hope you understand on this part here. Okay, and then okay. Okay, and then we also have the concept of real. Okay, because once you calculate the CPI or the inflation rate, you can also in economics we have what we call nominal versus real value. Okay, not just income. Okay, the word real versus nominal can be applied to many variables. Okay, nominal interest rate, real interest rate, nominal income, real income, nominal wages, real wages. So what is nominal versus real? So basically nominal, the current ringgit amount of, is based on the current value, not taking into account inflation. But once you take into account inflation rate, then that will be based on what we call real value. So the word real followed by income, meaning income level that is adjusted for inflation or adjusted for any changes in price. So because, for example, if the inflation rate in 2020 is, let's say, 4%, so what you get in, what if my salary, for example, if someone is getting 1,000 ringgit per month, so that 1,000 ringgit is nominal income or nominal wages. If you want to know what is the real wages, you must deduct by the inflation rate of 4%. So that will be the what we call the real income. So the calculation is very simple. Nominal divided by CPI multiplied by 100, you will get any real value, whether it's real wages, real income. Okay, so to get the real price or the real the real value of any variable, in this case real income. Okay, so the nominal income divided by the CPI index of that particular year multiplied by 100. Okay, so that is for example 2020 income, okay, 1,000 ringgit divided by the CPI of 2020. Let's say the CPI of 2020 it could be, let's say, 120. So 1,000 divided by 120 multiplied by 100, then you get the real income for 2020. So it must be always in the same year. So income for 2020 divided by CPI for 2020 multiplied by 100 to get the real value. Okay, so that will be on so inflation and real income. When you know the inflation rate, you can find whether your income is keeping up, not keeping up, or more than keeping up. So what this means is that, okay, if you are getting 1,000 ringgit this year, last year, let's say you get 900 ringgit. This year you are getting 1,000 ringgit. So you say that, okay, last year my income is 900, this year increased by 100 ringgit. So your nominal income increased by 100, okay? But at the same time, inflation also is increasing. So let's say last year is 3%, this year let's say 4%. So in terms of your real income, is your income last year versus this year is the same or increasing when you take into account inflation? Okay, so how are you doing depends on whether your income is rising by the same percentage. If rising by the same percentage, meaning is you are keeping up. But if your increase in income, the percentage increase in income is smaller than the increase in inflation, then you are not keeping up, meaning inflation rate is bigger than the percentage increase in income, then what you are getting this year is in fact smaller than what you are getting last year. Okay, or the percentage increase in your income is bigger than the percentage or the inflation rate, then you are better off, meaning you are much better this year than last year. Okay, so usually, for example, if your parents say that, okay, back then in, let's say in 1980s, okay, someone who is earning 300 ringgit, okay, can buy this, can buy that, okay, but this year, someone who are earning, let's say 1,000 ringgit cannot buy many things as what you are earning, let's say even less, 300 ringgit back in 1980s, 1990s. Okay, so what you earn this, even though you earn bigger this, in term of the current ringgit value today. For example, now the minimum wages, if you go and work at Tesco or any grocery store as a cashier, sales rep, okay, you are I mean, on usually, I mean, you will get an income around 1,000 ringgit to 1,200 ringgit. Okay, 1,000 to 1,000, between 1,000 to 1,200. Okay, that is around the rate that most people will get if you work as the any simple job. Okay, in term like a cashier. Okay, so that would be the rate. But back in the 1990s, okay, the same job may only give you around 300 to 400 ringgit. So if you are talking about the nominal wages, you say that, oh, today what you are getting more than what maybe your parents earn in 1990s, only around 300 ringgit. But 1,000 ringgit today may not be able to buy. You may be getting less. If you go to a shop, you bring that 1,000 ringgit, maybe you get less item or less goods in your trolley, okay, compared to what 400 or 300 ringgit when your parents working, okay, on the same. If you are getting 400 ringgit for the same job, okay, so let's say your parent work after finishing their SPM or waiting for, during semester break, okay, they work part time, so they may get around 300, 400 ringgit as a part time worker. But now, if you are working part time, you get 1,000 ringgit. So you say that you are getting more. Okay, but in terms of the real income, okay, so this is what inflation calculation is useful. Okay, to know whether what you are getting now is it bigger than what people are getting 20 years ago, or is it smaller? Okay, so if you open the slide here, okay, when you click on this link, okay, it will bring you to a website where you can calculate the real price. Okay, you can try that. Okay, but those are prices in dollar based on the CPI in the US. Okay, so you go and okay, open the slide properly, and then you can click on this. So it will bring you to this address here. Okay, data.bls.gov. Okay, so you can plug in the whatever value and see whether what is the price that your base year price versus the current price today. Okay, and see if you pay, for example, $1.15 of petrol in 1980. Okay, how much is the same petrol, okay, or gasoline cost today? Okay, so this is a simple website. Of course, there are many online calculator if you want to calculate the inflation rate. Okay, but most are based on the American or the US example. Okay, okay, so then next we move to what we call as GDP implicit deflator. Okay, I do not want to go too much into detail. Okay, so what you see here again is just another example of okay, if someone it's the same thing that I mentioned just now. Okay, if you are, let's say, if your parents told you that, okay, he got 300 ringgit, okay, 30 years ago, so you can convert that 300 ringgit based on today's price. What is 300 back in 1980s in 2020 price? Okay, so this is the same. This formula you can apply to any example. Okay, so as long as you have the CPI of the present year, the CPI of the base year or the year that you want to compare against, okay, multiply by the dollar in the 2000 in that particular year. So for example, in this particular example, 1960, someone is earning $10,000. So how much that $10,000 equivalent to how many or how much dollar in today's price? So okay, salary earlier year, which is the $10,000 back in 1960, multiply by the CPI of the present, divide by CPI of the previous or the year that you want to compare, which is 1960, equals to 75,992. So this value is basically what that $10,000 back in 1960 is now worth 75,000. So if someone is earning 10,000 back in 1960, is equivalent to 75,992. Of course, this example is based on 2011 dollars. Okay, now it's already 2020, but the argument is you are comparing 1960 versus 2011 price. So assuming this is 2020, okay, you can just change it to 2020. I mean, just to make more sense. Okay, so salary in 1960 versus 2020 dollars. Of course, this value of the CPI is based on the example from the US textbook. So when they put 2011, so I believe this is the 2011. The current year here is based on 2011. Okay, but as long as you get the idea how to calculate salary in today's dollar, okay, as long as you have the salary, I mean, or the value in today's price based on what you want to compare against. Okay, so $300 in 1980s, 300 ringgit Malaysia, is worth how much in 2020? Okay, so if your father worked as a cashier in 1980s, okay, or 1990s, for example, what is that value today? Okay. Okay, so that is this is a simple example, but you can apply this example in any question as long as you have this information. Okay, so of course the answer is 75,992. So if you want to convert a value that was many years ago into this price, so that will be the earlier value multiplied by the CPI of the current divided by the CPI of the earlier year or the year that you want to compare against. Okay. So this is okay. So what is a base year? Okay, a year that is used for comparison purpose. Okay, so this is another example that you can all self-test. Okay, uh, annual income has risen by 13.85%, while prices have risen by 4.94%. We conclude that nominal income has risen more than prices, real income has increased. Okay, because income increased by 13%, but inflation only increased by 5%. Okay, more or less 5%. So you can, because the increase in nominal income is bigger than the increase in inflation. Okay, so if you deduct this difference, 13.85 minus 4.94, so that difference will be your actual increase in income, because nominal income, when you compare against inflation rate, okay, so what here, for example, okay, alternatively, you can look this way: real income in year 1, 31,337, and real income in year 2 is 33,996. So this is based on this data here. Okay, if your income is 45,000 and CPI is 143 in the year 1, in year 2 your annual income is 51,232 and the CPI is 150.7. Okay, so how do you calculate? Okay, so how do you get 33996? Okay, so if you recall the formula for real value, okay, which is real income nominal divided by CPI multiplied by 100. So basically this a simple straightforward formula, 51,232 divided by 150.7, you should be getting 33,996. Okay, so that will be the, okay, 51,232 divided by 150.7. Okay, so 339, of course you need to multiply by 100. Okay, okay, so 33996 is what this value here. Okay, so this is the real income in 2000 in year 2. Okay, in the previous year, 31,337 you get by 45,000 divided by 143.6. So you can see that okay, real income in year 2 is bigger than the real income in year 1. As long as the current year is the real income in the present year is bigger than the previous year, so you can see that your income has actually increased. But if you take your real income, for example, this value here, let's say is 30,000. Okay, so I just put here 30,000. Okay, how do you get this? The current income, the income in year 2 divided by the CPI in year 2. Let's say when you divide, you get 30,996. So you can see that your real income now has decreased. Although your income increased, nominal, not in terms of nominal, you can see that there is an increase. But because of the inflation effect, okay, income now in year 2 is lower than the income in year 1. So this is applied on our actual life on daily basis. Okay, so if, for example, if you go to work today, okay, and undergraduate salary now, I mean, if you work, once you get your degree, okay, maybe inshallah in 3 years from now or 4 years from now, and you start working, so let's say your entry salary, your beginning salary, if you work in a company, let's say 4 years from now, let's say you get 2,500 ringgit, for example. Okay, 2,500 ringgit. So, and let's say if you want to compare that 2,500 ringgit, so what is your, and then the following year, let's say your income increased by 200 ringgit, 2,500 now become 2,000, in the year 2, 2,700 ringgit. So in terms of nominal increase, your income increased by 200 ringgit. But are you better off in the second year compared in the first year you started working? So for you to know that, you need to check what is your real income. Okay, so your real income must take into account inflation. So even though your income increased by 200, okay, from 2,500 to 2,700, so how do you calculate the increase? Okay, 2,700, okay, minus 2,500, meaning your income increased by 200 divided by 2,500 ringgit in the previous year. So basically your income increased by 8%. Okay, meaning when you started working in year 1, you get 2,500, and in the second year you get 2,700. So that 200 ringgit is based, when you convert in terms of percentage increase, your income increased by 8%. Okay, but if inflation between 2,000 in year 1 versus year 2, let's say is 10%. So inflation rate is bigger than your really in your nominal increase in income. So meaning that you are made worse off. Okay, or alternatively, okay, let's say inflation is only 4%. Okay, is 4%, but your income increased by 8%. Okay, so of course you can see that your income, your real income, your real income actually only increased by 4%, not 8%. Because if inflation is 4%, your increase in income from year 1 to year 2, from 2,500 to 2,700, that increase is 8%. But inflation on the same, in that 1 year, from year 1 to year 2, is 4%. So if somebody asks you, what is your increase in income? Nominal increase is 8%, but real increase is only 4% because 8 minus 4 is 4%. Okay, so meaning that year 1 to year 2, your real income only increased by 4%, not 8%, because 8% is only nominal value. So that is what nominal and real function is lah, if you want to use that as the calculation. Okay, so I think we stop there at this stage, I mean, for today. Okay, on the concept of, so we covered on, okay, simple concept of the definition for classical and apa tu, classical and Keynesian, and then what is CPI, and then apa tu, how to calculate CPI, and then how to calculate inflation. Okay, let me see if I can find a few questions on this topic. Okay, so this is an example from past year. So let's do this quickly. Okay, so which of so basically this is taken from past year final exam questions. Okay, in normal exam time, okay, final exam is basically starts from topic 8 until the last topic. Okay, so basically final exam question for principle of economics covers only macroeconomic questions. Okay, meaning from chapter 8 onwards. The one, so test 1 and test 2, test 1 you did on last Friday. Okay, so test 2 also on macroeconomic, topic 5 to 7. So test 3 and test 4 is basically the final exam divide into 2, okay, because it only covers macroeconomic topic. Okay, so if you download past year's question from the library website, okay, so all of the MCQ questions, okay, the multiple choice questions in the past year's in the library, okay, all are those questions are all based on all of those are based on macroeconomic topics, okay. So okay, the first one, which of the following are not macro? So I think the obvious here is housing price, okay, because economic growth, inflation, and unemployment is what we already discussed just now. Okay, so the key assumption behind the thinking of classical economists was that wages were Okay, so if you go back to the slides that we discussed just now, okay, the Keynesian versus classical. So what are the argument or the assumption for classical economists? So what is the answer? Okay, so it will be C, okay, flexible both downward and upward. Okay, okay, C, 3, what is the proper sequence of phases of business cycle? Okay, so look at the slide just now, peak contraction, through expansion, recovery. So what are the stages, okay? So if you check back this slide here, okay, okay, so peak and then recession and then through, okay, and then, okay, so what is this phase here? Okay, so expansion is somewhat on this stage here, okay. So this phase is actually what we call as recovery, okay. So when you reach at the very bottom, okay, and then you start to recover and then you start to expand again. So the correct answer should be C, okay, peak, and then you go down, contraction or recession, and then you reach the bottom point, and then you start to recover, and then you start to expand, okay. So A and C, the first three are similar, okay, except this last two. So you don't expand and then you recover. You recover first, meaning that you start to recover. It's like when you fall down, you start to recover, and then before you can start walking or running again. So three, the correct answer should be C. Okay. Okay. Four, in calculating CPI, we need to choose a year as a base year. So what is a base year? Okay, so if you're not answering, so there's no point for me to discuss what will be the answer. Okay, so okay, there are 90 something of you and none of you wanted to respond. So I'm not giving you the answer for free. Okay. Okay, base year is okay. Go back to the definition. Okay, is a year that is used to compare with other years. Okay, so that is what base year is. Okay, and last one, topic question 5. Okay, CPI in 2016 is 115.2 compared to 110 in 2004. If Kumar is earning 900, okay, in 2014, what is the amount of earning Kumar needs to have in order to keep up? So if you recall, keep up means the income will be the same as in 2016 income will be the same as the one earned in 2014. Okay, so basically what you need to use the formula is the one that we discussed this example on on this one, the salary. So it's very similar to this, the salary earlier year, okay, multiply by CPI current, divide by CPI earlier. Okay, so that should give you the answer here. Okay, you will not get an exact answer. Okay, there will be some decimal places, but that will be the closest to, you choose the one that is closest to uh, the formula. Okay, so salary in 2014 multiply by CPI of 16 divided by CPI of 14. So you get 938 point something. Okay, so 5, the answer should be D lah. Okay, so we'll continue on next Thursday. Okay, on where we stop today so we start on unemployment. Okay, on this coming Friday. Okay, which is the second part or the remaining part of topic number 8. Okay, so I'll upload this in your